Hello, we're going to practice section C for AQA A-level computer science today, but before we dive into the questions, let's quickly look at the important areas of the code. As a brain warmer, I'll give you 30 seconds to fill out this UML diagram. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time, and then we'll look at the answers. Alright, so let's look at the answers now. So here's the filled UML diagram. Puzzle has a composition relationship with patron, cell, and blocked cell. And then blocked cell is inherited from the cells. Well done if you got it right. So the main subroutine determines whether a file is read in or whether a standard file should be displayed. A standard puzzle is an 8x8 grid with 38 symbols, and a loaded puzzle is a 5x5 grid, and the number of symbols allowed are different for each puzzle 1, puzzle 2, puzzle 3, and puzzle 4. Coming on to the constructor method in our puzzle class, if a file is supplied, the attributes are initialized and the puzzle is loaded using the method loadPuzzle. If no file is supplied, attributes are set including the allowed symbols and the patron. The loadPuzzle method in our puzzle class reads the puzzle file if it was supplied. Here's the structure of our text files. The first section and the last section is the same for all 4 text files. The middle section is different. So the first line is the number of symbols, then we have got the 3 actual symbols, then the number of patron, then 3 different patrons, and then the grid size. And then the last 2 lines are the scores and the number of symbols left. In between, we have got the structure. For a 5x5 grid, there are 25 rows. Each one is supplied with a different symbol. The first line represents the first cell, for example, and then the second line represents the second cell, and that goes all the way up to the last cell. Each line has either 0, 1, or 2 values separated by comma, and on each line the first symbol is what should be displayed in the cell on the grid, and the second value is what is not allowed. It's necessary so that when the score is calculated, a matched pattern is not counted twice. If there's no symbol, as in no value on that line, then a dash is displayed on the grid. Coming on to the attempt puzzle method, this is the central method to the whole skeleton code. It displays the puzzle grid, allows the user to enter a symbol into a cell for a given row and column. Then this method keeps iterating until the game is fully completed. The check for match with patron method, after each symbol is added, this method checks to see if a completed patron has been achieved. If so, the player is given the score. Now let's look at how the patron string works. So essentially the method that is being described here is the process that is taking place inside the check for match with patron. This is useful in order to understand how the patron recognition works as well. So looking at our 3x3 grid, basically the process works in a clockwise direction. So for example, on the screen you can see that each box is labeled with a number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So essentially the patron string, which is represented in our actual code, looks like this, and it works in this manner. Now you would realize inside our check for match with patron method, the code looks like this. First cell on the grid is the start row, start column, so essentially the first values you were supplied with, and then each time we're just incrementing the column if we want to move to the right, and then if we want to move downwards, we're decrementing the row and incrementing the column by 2. So let's just say we start off with row 1, column 1. The second column would be same row number, so row number is still 1, but the column number is now 1 plus 1, so column 2. Third time it's row number is still 1, but the column number is 1 plus 2, that's 3. And essentially each new cell you're moving to, you're just doing that. Now just another example for you to look at to make sure that you've fully understood the logic. So imagine if in your exam you're asked to introduce a new character h. Here's how the string would look like. So on the right you can see the string for h, and then just the representation. So thinking about our puzzle class, we've got 3 private methods. GetCell just takes a value from the user specified for the cell. GetSymbol from user asks the user to enter a symbol. And then createHorizontalLine just creates a line for the puzzle when it's displayed. The public methods we've got are displayPuzzle, which displays the overall grid. In our class patron, we've got the constructor method and we've got matchesPatron. Constructor method just sets up the attributes for the symbol and patron, and then matchesPatron checks to see if the symbol patron sequence is valid. Coming on to our cell class, we've got the constructor method which sets up the attribute. Then we've got getSymbol which gets the symbol from the cell. We've got isEmpty which checks to see if the cell is empty. Then we've got changeSymbol in cell which changes the symbol in the cell according to whatever was entered by the user. Then checkSymbolAllowed checks to see if the symbol is allowed. Add to not allowed symbols, add a symbol to the not allowed list. And then update cell, Even though currently it's implemented as a pass statement, which means it does not contain any code, it's not serving any real purpose, so it's worth considering what exam question might revolve around this situation. So in our blocked cell class, we've got the constructor method and then check symbol allowed. Constructor method calls the constructor from cell and sets it to the @ symbol. Check symbol allowed is set to false because the cell is blocked. Now we have briefly looked at the code, so let's try out some exam questions. Feel free to pause the video and answer them, and then I'll show you the answers in a minute. Right, so here are the answers. Have a look, mark your work, and let me know if you've got them correct, or if you're unsure, feel free to drop a comment or send me an email. Alright, we've got some more questions for you to try. And here are the answers to those questions. Okay, and then we've got the last slide to practice. I know there's so many questions. Obviously, it's just for your own practice. And here we go, the answers for the last slide. Great, so that's the end of the video. I hope it was helpful. If anything is unclear or if you've got any question, just drop a comment or feel free to send me an email.